Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the start line by a young Muslim American couple on a road trip through the U.S. One's a rapper, poet, and chaplain. The other, an assistant professor and CEO of the Lama Foundation. We welcome Mona Haydar and Sebastian Robins.
Hey, thanks so much for having us on. How are you doing today?
Absolutely great. Mona and Sebastian, let's go beyond the mic. The Great Muslim American Road Trip details your 3,000-mile journey across Route 66. You visit authors, entrepreneurs, and more, trying to unpack the diversity of Muslims in the U.S. How challenging was this to put together?
You know, I feel like the most challenging part was spending 3 weeks in a small car with my husband. And that's the reality of it. Just being totally transparent and honest. The reality is we're a couple who got an opportunity to do something really wonderful. And, you know, it came with challenges. One of which being my husband's incessant dad jokes. And, you know, you see a little bit of that in the show. So I would say that was the greatest challenge of putting all of it together. But I feel like people will get a chance to see us up close as a real couple, you know, and all of that comes with it. The good, the bad, and the not so cute.
As you went on this road trip from Chicago to L.A., where were you the most welcomed and least?
We felt blessed really from the beginning to the end. Our very first day in Chicago, we got to spend time with the daughter of the great Muhammad Ali, his daughter Mariam Ali. She really put the wind in our sails. And I really can say sincerely, we felt welcomed everywhere we went. There's something about traveling that puts you in a vulnerable and a slightly helpless situation. And people can respond to that in many ways. Of course, people could take advantage of that. But the people we met rose up. They welcomed us in. They were eager to be hosts and ambassadors of their community. They shared stories of the history of Muslims in this country, but they also shared personal stories. There were 2 communities we met that had been victims of arson and had stepped up after those attacks with greater love and greater service and greater commitment to putting their faith into action. So we felt quite welcomed and had these beautiful encounters day after day after day for almost a month.
This series will show the fun and challenges on this trip. With the world so divided so easily right now, how do we come together again?
You know, I really think it's about your intention. And we went into this project with a lot of hope and a lot of love and a lot of light, expecting the mother road to meet us with that same energy. And I just believe that when you are striving for love, when you're striving for peace, that is what you find in the world. And of course, that's not always the case. Terrible things happen in the world, and you know, we're not always as kind to one another as we should be. So that's through rose-colored glasses. But I will say that I really do believe that when you come with love in your heart, with sincerity, that is what you will find. And, you know, putting all the differences aside, at the end of the day, you know, it's maybe it's morbid to say this, but we all go to the same place. You know, we all return to the same earth, and we all get buried the same way. And knowing that, I feel like should humble us and connect us in a way that I don't know why we don't talk about that more. You know, we have a short time on this planet and on this earth, and we may as well spend it creating more love.
The Great Muslim American Road Trip is on PBS, and it's time for the Rocking 8. We're joined by Mona Haydar and Sebastian Robins beyond the mic. It's 8 random questions. Answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. There is no pressure. As we have 2 guests, we'll alternate questions. Mona, best Wu-Tang song?
Ooh. That's a hard one. Let's go to the next question while I think about it.
Sebastian, what helps you keep things in perspective?
Spending 5 minutes by myself.
Mona, what's the best thing, your favorite thing about Flint?
The artist community that fostered me and helped me grow.
Sebastian, if you could make a care package for your enemy, what's the one thing you'd put into it?
Carrot cake.
Mona, where and how good was your first date with Sebastian?
It was in Taos, New Mexico, and it was wonderful. He even let me borrow his shoes because I wore the wrong shoes in a spiky field that he took me to.
Sebastian, what's the best thing about Safi?
His incessant questions keep me on my toes 24 hours a day.
So true. Mona, what's the one thing that Sebastian does that drives you absolutely crazy?
One thing? That's really hard. Better than the Wu-Tang song.
Something that we've been talking a lot about recently is he really likes to have his hands on everything and likes to make decisions for all of us all the time. So he's working on that, giving us all a little bit more rain.
Sebastian, what's sustainable crop is the one you wish farms would accept more easily than they do right now?
Wow, that's a good question. What's sustainable crop? Really, I wish all farms were more diverse. Monocropping is pretty bad. And, growing a diverse amount of fruits and vegetables on a single piece of land is probably the best thing we can do to grow soil.
Have you figured out your favorite Wu-Tang song yet, Mona?
I'm probably just going to go for the one that's the most fun for me, and that's cream, cash rolls, everything around me. Dollar bill, y'all,
It's time for one big question. With creators of the great Muslim American road trip Beyond the Mic, friends, what's the biggest misconception about your faith?
I think people forget that Muslims are actually human. Someone wrote a very snarky comment on social media. They said, I really want to know what makes a road trip Muslim. And they meant it kind of in this funny way, but it's absolutely dead on that there's nothing that makes a road trip Muslim, just like there's, because we're people, we're making jokes, I'm annoying my wife, we're playing music. And I think people forget that beyond any misconception of any group that you don't understand is a human being with a heart. We were all born of a mother. We're all going to the same place. We're all trying to make sense of this short time we have on this planet. We're all trying to figure out what to do. And if we can just remember that, if you can look around in a crowd and say, wow, everybody around me has experienced some kind of tremendous pain. Everybody around me is striving to be happy. Everyone around me is trying to make sense of this world. I think a lot of those barriers will start to fall.
Will there be a great Muslim American road trip too?
I hope so. Stay tuned.
He's hands-on, and she loves her artist community in Flint. They would give carrot cake to their enemy. The Great Muslim American Road Trip is showing on PBS. Mona Haydar, Sebastian Robins, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you for having us.
And that, my friends, is a Beyond the Mic shortcut.